In our first story, the Cooper Union, a US-based charity, has provided 25 locally manufactured solar lamps to residents of Nitawuta, a farming community in the Akachi North District of the Volta region.
It follows a Joy News documentary which highlighted how the lack of electricity was negatively impacting the lives of the people. Joseph Opoku Gapo's Jungle Poor documentary was aired a few weeks ago.
This is Nitawuta, a community where impoverished lifestyle is quite high. Residents depend solely on small incomes from their farms. The community lacks some basic amenities, including health center, sanitary facilities, electricity, and a good access road. The most challenging situation for residents is the unavailability of electricity. Darkness takes over the community at night, making it difficult for residents to move around and pupils to study. Though some pupils use kerosene lanterns to learn, they have complained about the impact of the smoke on their eyes. That notwithstanding, some of the pupils have been able to assemble their own lighting system using dry cells, wires and touch bulbs, which is not bright enough for that purpose. Nevertheless, there is a new dawn in Nitawuta. An electrical engineer, Professor Todd Kambabach, and his team have provided the community with 25 locally manufactured solar lamps. The package includes a charging station plus mobile phone charging spot. The team spent 2 days in the community to install a solar panel to augment the system. Some members of the community were also trained to help with manufacturing of the solar lamps. He commended the DCE, James Gunu, for convincing him in making his dream of lighting the middle of nowhere a reality.
We wanted to put in a new system outside the Upper West. And as chance had it, my colleague, Dr. Akoli, had seen the previous documentary on Joy News, and so that's what got him into contact with the DCE. So the first day I was in Ghana, we came here and we went to Nitawuta, and personally I was very impressed with the energy of the DCE. You know, we were building a new system in a region where we'd never been before, and so we knew we'd need the support of somebody strong. So in a way, that's why we're here. I would have to say it's probably because of an energetic DCE and the previous documentary on Joy News.
Some of the residents shared their sentiments with Joy News.
It will help the school children a lot because those days, when they want to learn, they only buy this thing, kerosene, before they put it into that's the natural lamp. But in this time, how they bring this light for us, it will help the school children to learn properly so that the education too can promote.
When I come back from school, when the sun goes down or it is dark, I don't have any light to learn. So I just do this thing, fix my bad case. So I thank Professor that he has given us this solar light to learn.
Now, pupils have the benefit of gathering around the solar lamp at night after their mothers have finished using the lamps to cook. The long-term plan is to connect Nitawuta and another 21 communities selected in the Akachi North District to the national electricity grid. Fred Kwame Asari's report from the Volta region.
Former President Jerry John Rawlings has donated 5,000 Ghana cedis to the 16-year-old boy suffering severe burns after he had acid poured on him by his dad's tenant.
The money is to support the cost of his treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And Andy Dodo sustained severe burns after the suspect, Suleiman Yuguda, poured the corrosive substance on him following a misunderstanding with his father. Andy and his 71-year-old father both suffered the burns. 3 others whose burns were not severe have been discharged. Similar donations have poured in after the story was told here on Joy News. The principal, lecturers, as well as nursing student from the College of Health Sciences at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have so far donated some 7,000 Ghana cedis to the victim and his family. Another person who wants to remain anonymous has donated some 3,000 Ghana cedis, and we're still appealing for a lot more money to help Andy and his father.
Another story, the 2016 Health Summit has been opened in Accra, with a call from development partners to government to adopt and implement a comprehensive wholesale reform in the health sector.
USAID Mission Director Andrew Karras, who represented development partners, says they are under intense pressure from their headquarters and various stakeholders to respond with Ghana's plan for major reform following the Central Medical Stores fire, where over 1 million drugs were destroyed. He urged government to consider adopting a public-private partnership for pharmaceutical drugs wholesale.
Supply chain reform. None of us will forget the devastating fire that occurred at the Central Medical Store in Tema about 18 months ago, in which an estimated $81 million worth of life-saving medicines, equipment, and other health commodities were destroyed. The statement by the Attorney General identified several vital areas of concern with regard to mismanagement and fraud at that time at the CMS. While desperately tragic, we as development partners strongly urge the government of Ghana to not let this tragedy be a wasted opportunity to push through comprehensive wholesale reform that ensures that life-saving essential medicines are delivered to those that need it most. As donors, we estimate that on an annual basis, we provide between $65 and $70 million a year in pharmaceutical commodities to Ghana. Many development partners, I would underscore, are under incredible pressure from our headquarters, our capitals, our boards, our stakeholders to respond with Ghana's plan of major reform in the wake of the CMS fire and the very important supply chain reforms that it compels. We urge our friends, our colleagues at the Ministry of Health to take full advantage of this opportunity to push forward out-of-the-box innovations, bold solutions, to truly consider public-private partnerships, as many of our neighboring countries are doing, and not to miss this chance to turn this tragedy into lives saved by getting products to the people that need them most. That of public financial management, another critical area. In these days, we know of ever greater financial constraints. It's even more vital that we make every effort to ensure that every CD is spent well, and improved public financial management will be the key in that endeavor. Ghana has invested considerable resources in programs aimed at strengthening public financial management. However, significant institutional policy and system weaknesses continue to manifest themselves in limiting the impact of these reforms. The most recent audit findings, as we know, have raised concerns over procurement practices, over the level of unearned salaries being paid, and on ineligible expenditures. Very clearly, improved financial and procurement management will be needed to ensure that more is spent on direct services, and it will also generate greater confidence in the sector.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister of Health, Dr. Victor Bampo, in his response, cited ongoing reforms in the supply chain management area in the health sector.
And one of them was this reform. I think, and you heard the USAID Mission Director talk about never wasting a good crisis or a bad crisis. What happened was really regrettable, but out of that, the ministry is actually looking at reforming our supply chain management system, and it's going on right now. There's a group that is reviewing the supply chain management. So we hope that by the time that group finishes, we'll have a more efficient way of distributing medicines, and something like what happened will never happen again.
President John Dramani Mahama has charged the new governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Nasiru Isahaku, to work assiduously with the finance minister to keep the country's economy on track.
The president also asked the governor to carry out his duties with the integrity and confidence reposed in him by the people of Ghana.
Probably despite your very young age, 54 if I am right, you have risen to a position of great responsibility, because there's a lot that the governor of the central bank has to shoulder in order that we have monetary policy on track. you come to the job with quite a lot of experience from the African Development Bank, and you've also served an apprenticeship as a deputy governor, so I'm sure that the responsibilities are not new to you. You have a lot of people who are praying for your success, and a lot of people have great trust in your ability to be able to shoulder this responsibility and carry out the duties of the office with integrity and trust. And so we'll encourage you to discharge your duties. You've already been working as part of a team since we went into the extended credit facility of the IMF. Progress under the program has been very good, and it is my hope that you work closely with your colleague, the Minister of Finance, to ensure that both fiscal and monetary policy continue to be on track. The economic prospects for Ghana are widely predicted.
Well, and following his swearing in at the Flagstaff House here in Accra, Dr. Nasiru Isahaku pledged to work to reduce inflation to also help bring down escalating interest rates in Ghana.
Recently, there's been a lot of talk about high interest rates, and it's something that concerns all of us. But I mean, conventionally, when we bring down inflation as part of stabilizing the economy, the expectation is that it will pull down interest rate. But we, as I indicated in my interview in Washington, we have to begin to bring other tools into the arena to ensure that we work on making sure that the real sector does well as we try to bring interest rates down. So we will work to incentivize the financial sector to provide credit to businesses so that, you know, growth can really take off in a manner that we all can benefit as Ghanaians.
Is bringing down inflation your immediate target?
That bringing down inflation is the mandate of the central bank, is the primary mandate of the central bank to stabilize our prices. So that's where the focus would continue to be. But we shouldn't take our eye off this important objective to ensure that businesses do well. And I think while we're trying to bring down inflation, we should be helping the business sector.
The governor also says processes are underway to sanitize the microfinance industry to avert the recent crisis that has led to the loss of millions of cedis belonging to some depositors within the sector.
I think the important thing is to focus and look ahead what we can do to sanitize that sector. And the Bank of Ghana is already undertaking a lot of initiatives to deal with that, including announcing our regional presence so that we can better supervise and monitor the activities of these microfinance institutions. There are many of them. Right now, there's a moratorium. We don't issue any license at all until we successfully sanitize that industry. And it's important because as we move on, we want to enhance financial inclusion. And it's an important role that microfinance institutions play. So we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathtub. We need microfinance, but we have to do it quite well. Recall before this whole advent of microfinance institutions came, or the Bank of Ghana came into it, it was being licensed by some other external, just by police ordinance, you could get a license. The Bank of Ghana came rather later, to try to sanitize it and advise all microfinance institutions to come and register. So some of the ones you are here, some of them, only some of them, have actually never been licensed by the central bank. Granted that some who have been licensed have, had serious challenges, and we are beginning to deal with those. But it remains one of my primary focus areas to deal with the microfinance, sanitize it so that we can all have confidence in their operations because they are a critical part of economic development.
And that's it for the news this morning. And please make sure that you join us next as we look at what the stories are topically on the front and back page of the newspapers. And we'll be looking at some of the stories on the news portals as well if we have the time.
All right, so definitely stay with us.
We'll be right back.